What's up, guys? We're live. We finally are doing the Poker Writers podcast. We have been out of commission for a while, and what better way to do this by bringing back Abhineet Jain, the first guest on our podcast. He's a PLO crusher. If you don't know much about Abhineet Jain, you can go and check out his first podcast where we speak a lot about how he got into poker, his struggles at the early age, and how he came out of that, did a lot of hard work, and kind of is crushing the highest stakes online right now. Before we get to Abhineet, I just like to plug my sponsor, Poker Ninja, for all the stuff, all the support they've given me. They have started a corporate hold'em league, which is a special event for corporate teams, which you can participate in by getting a team of 3 to 5 players from your company and play for a prize pool of 1 million guaranteed. And their finals are going to be in Bangalore. So you should definitely check that out. Go to pokerninja.net and you can follow all their other offers as well. But without any further ado, let's bring the man of the hour, Abhineet Jain. What's up, Abhineet?
Hi, thank you. Good to be back.
Good to be back. Good to be back. We tried to do it a couple of times, but sadly
Yeah,
it did not happen.
yeah. Last time I got many messages that people were disappointed. The link was not working. So I said, yeah,
I know. I'm sure. So, Abhineet, why don't we quickly jump into, it's been a while since we've done the last podcast. What has been happening for, the while we haven't been in touch? What's been happening in your life, poker related or otherwise?
yeah. Last time I remember, I don't know. I don't remember whether I told this or not, but my plan was to, I had a certain amount which I wanted to make before doing the Vegas trip. So I have been working on that only, and in between I went to Manila, which was a fun trip. But yeah, I'll talk about
Yeah, I think
my
we'll get to Manila later, but I remember you told me that you had a cash amount which was your goal for the year.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was, if I'm not mistaken, 1 CR.
yeah,
That was your goal. So how far along have you gotten to close it?
yeah. So what my short-term goal was before Vegas, I wanted to make like 20
Okay.
before that trip. So I got a little swayed in between. So after the Manila trip, I went on my career's biggest downswing ever. Like it was around 20, 15 to 20,
And so basically, when Pokemon is saying 15 to 20, he means 15 to 20 lakhs. So
oh,
just in case somebody's watching and doesn't know what he means, it's 20 lakhs right there.
yeah. Yeah, so remember I told you that my biggest downswings have been like 10, and it has
Yeah.
happened 2 or 3 times over the span of 3 years. But this time it was like 15 to 20. I lost in like a couple of days.
So
And
what games were you playing when you went on this downswing?
500, 1K, 1K, 2K, Adda, Spartan,
Okay. Okay.
everywhere.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
changed my strategy recently. Before I used to keep uh, a bigger bankroll on all sides, but then since I figured that I'm still not 100% through with my tilt issues, so I started keeping lesser bankrolls on all the sides. So when this happened, I basically you know my bankroll on sites was gone. Like I had zero
Okay.
money on
Okay.
all. So this
Okay.
happened
So
2 weeks.
uh, so when you reduce money in your in a particular site, does
Yeah.
that change the way you approach the game? Does it affect the way you play?
So I've been doing this in since the past 7 months successfully. Before this happened, uh, and this was working out. So I was continuing with this, but that was one of those DJ moments
Okay.
when I got some sick beats, and then it continued. Then I got tilted. So yeah, I'm not happy that till now I'm not able. I'm not mentally strong enough to handle my tilt. But I'll get there. So also, so after every swing, I come back stronger. That is one thing which not most people can do. And so 2 weeks back, I deposited two each on Adda and Bazi, and in after 14 days, this is yesterday was my 15th day. Uh, I have 27 now on both.
Wow, wow. So
I
basically, in the two
haven't,
weeks,
I
in the two
haven't
weeks,
touched
you
six.
you basically won 23 lakhs.
27. Yeah, 23. Yeah.
Wow, wow. So tell me this, like last time as well, we spoke about this, that you are born to two psychologists, and how your psychological game is very different, and like your approach is very different, and how you deal with tilt, and
Yeah.
all of those things. In terms of that, you have a very clear picture of how do you handle your emotions and stuff like that. Is there something specific that you did this time around?
It's the same thing which I keep telling people and which I follow myself whenever I go on a huge downswing. So mostly, my game style is such that I I never lost a huge. I can never lose a huge amount of money until and unless I go insane. So whenever this huge downswing happens, it's mostly when a fish gives me a suck out or something, and then I lose my mind, and then you know, which is which is wrong. Everyone knows, but then that is the only leak which is left in my game right now, and
Okay,
hopefully I'll fix it. But then okay, so I'll talk about how I approach my downswings.
okay, okay.
The first day when I deposited on both the sides, for not first day, for straight I think 40 to 48 hours. I slept like 2 3 hours in between. I just played 25-50,
Okay.
just 25-50, and in 48 hours, uh, from four, I had around seven.
Right.
Okay, and then the next day, and then I slept. Then for the next, I think 4 days, I played 25-50 and 50-100,
Okay.
and ran it up to around 10. So now 10 was enough for me to switch to 100 200, and subsequently 200 400, taking shots at 200 400 whenever I find the right games. So
Okay, I had a question. Sorry to interrupt you. I had a question. So a lot of people advocate short stacking on like high stakes tables. Like, is that something you do as well?
so short stacking, the only site where short stacking happens right now is Adda. The only uh, games where short stacking is profitable is when you have a few mega whales on your tables. So
Right.
you
Right.
just sit out of position to them. So the tendency of these whales are they'll raise every hand pre-flop. Okay, they'll raise
Right.
every hand 100%. Okay, and so when you are sitting out of position to a whale, he has raised a hand. The whole table is called, and when you are short stacking, so you can ISO with the top 5% of your range, the whale. Okay, if
Right.
everyone is called, when you ISO him, you'll almost put like 40% of your stack in, and then the whale will anyway always call, and just you have to hope. Most of the time, everyone else will fold. So now the situation post flop is the SPR is less than one. You're not folding any flop most of the times, and uh, you have range advantage with the whale pre-flop, and you just apply this strategy. If you
Right.
you
And obviously we're factoring in the fact that there's a lot of overlay in terms of how much money you're getting with the other blinds and with the other players involved.
there's dead money in the pot, and there's
Right.
SPR situation like that. So this is one of the this is I'm speaking of a very simple strategy, very simple
Right.
short stacking strategy, but I don't do that anymore. Short stacking PLO is not really, it's not a skill game. There's a lot of variance involved, and I don't advise anyone to, study that. There is skill in that also, but the skill, edges are very minimal.
So why
You
I
know,
brought that up was because the when the in nosebleed games that PokerStars used to happen, a lot of pros used to take shots
yeah,
at
yeah.
the bigger games where they used to shot stack to get a lot of overlay.
So
So
those kind
so
of IS
Tanay, so
doesn't run anymore on PokerStars, but like 10-20, if you see this still happens.
it still happens. It still happens. So before that, Tanay actually asked me a question on chat. So his question is, did you like uh, consciously play the 25-50 to make a bankroll enough to play 100 to 100, or was it just that you wanted to drop down and just kind of get
This
your confidence back?
that is what you need to do whenever you go on a downswing. People don't understand it. I So people approach me for coaching and all, and I I tell them to start at 10-20. They don't want to play. I have, like, you have a slight idea of my bankroll. Playing 25-50 for me, you can imagine, is
Yeah,
very hard.
because it's almost like playing micro stakes for you, because you're so used to playing the high stakes games, and obviously after having a downswing of about 20 lakhs, it's hard for you to be grinding at a 20-50
Exactly.
table. I mean, it's insane. Like I don't think I'll put myself through that because it'll probably make me play even worse.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So it definitely takes a lot of discipline from like you have to consciously
Exactly.
understand the fact that you're on a downswing, and great. Yeah. So
The
go ahead.
idea
So
the idea behind playing low stakes is not to make money. It's to bring that discipline back, which you lost during your
right. So
downswing.
right,
Discipline
right,
is
right.
patient.
So where did you go from there? So you switched to 100 to 100, and you
Yeah,
made
so
about 10 lakhs.
I moved up, and then 200, 400, like 3 days back. Only I started playing, and then from like 15 in 4 days. Last 4 days, I made 12. So now I have 27. So I'm in a profit of 7 after the downswing.
It's a good week. It's been a good week.
This is, I think, this past 2 weeks I've played the best poker of my life. I
Wow.
have defeated one of I've beat one of the best players of India. One one of the players messaged me saying that those that was very motivating statement for me. He said that I was scared of playing you.
Wow. So who do you consider the best player? PLO, if you can mention that.
Naman Madan.
Okay. 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 So Naman has been playing a lot of high stakes poker, and especially
You
PLO.
know, Actually, it is close between Jagdeep and Naman right now.
Right. Right.
They both have very different approach, but the best part is Jagdeep doesn't tilt, never tilts.
So obviously
So
that's really bad news.
I I will not be the best until I fix my leak, and my only leak is this.
Right.
So till then, I'm not the best.
You're definitely one of the best. And I have a question for you from Vishwajit in the chat. His question is: most of the action on cash games are on the PLO tables. So
Yeah.
how can a serious recreational player avoid colluding in the tables? I'm not sure what this question means.
Okay. Maybe it means that how how can a player know that if two people are colluding and
Colluding.
he
Maybe
doesn't uh,
that's what he says. Yeah.
doesn't want to be part of that, or yeah. So that for that I'll advise to stick to Adda and Bazi. So I can guarantee on both these sides that there is minimal and up to no collusion happening, because on
Okay.
Adda I'm pretty sure there is no collusion. Wherever people have tried, I've got the IDs banned. The the only problem is ghosting, which I don't care. Like if somebody else is playing from someone else's ID,
Right.
he still can't beat me. It's a person. It's one person. If you are colluding, then you have an edge on me. But if you are just one single person, you can't beat.
But then, I remember Sahil bringing up this on the the IPPA poker group, and Sahil had a very valid point. Like, when you're a cash game regular, when you're playing a lot of cash games at a certain stake, you obviously have some prerequisite reads on certain people, and kind of build your strategy around that, and it becomes very difficult for you to react, when suddenly a player, obviously ghosted ID starts doing some random stuff, which, it becomes very tough for you. And, these are high value pots, when especially when you're playing at stakes that you're participating in, these pots, can be like, a six figures plus, and it might affect the game in that sense.
Yeah. So true, true, very true. Most of the games which run on these sites, high stakes games, everyone knows everyone else. So there are few IDs which currently were raised, like Indian Share Broker and IMP, where people accuse them of multi-accounting. So again, my point is, like, maybe there's a different player playing from that ID. Okay, I don't care whoever else was playing from that before, because uh, I can figure out in a session of, let's say, 1 hour, okay, the tendencies. So basically what you need to do is you need to figure out the betting tendencies, and mostly the your decisions are based on bet sizings and bluff frequencies. So these two things are one of the major things which you need to figure out, which you have it figured out for the other players. But it is true for even for the other players, that on a given day they might change their tendencies, right?
Right.
So
Right.
on,
That's true.
on any given day, I take into account any whatever notes I have for a particular player. I consider them like 40%. 40 is also sometimes a high figure. So maybe let's say if I have a decision, I have a river decision where the opponent bets half pot. Okay, now I need to decide. I have, let's say, fourth nuts. Now, based on past history, if I know this play never bluffs on the river, so it's an easy fold for me, right?
Right.
But on that day, I don't know. I'm not sure about the mental state of that player. Okay, he randomly might decide to bluff. So now that data which I have
It's
has
useless. I mean, fair enough.
useless.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, I mean,
So
we've gotten way too technical. I'm
how
just
will
going to
I?
stop you.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
going to stop you. I think we've just got way too technical. There are a lot of recreational players and a lot of other people who might be watching. So I don't want this to be a PLO strategy podcast.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously, ghosting is a concern for the whole ecosystem as a since it's very young. But what you're saying also makes sense. I mean, it definitely makes
I
sense.
just,
And
I just want to put across one very important message to all the players, because I have been getting a lot of messages and I've not been able to reply, because now you know why. I have been playing non-stop for the last 2 weeks. I've slept for like 3-4 hours a night, and finally yesterday I slept. So yeah, whoever this is the basic question which I get, is how to start playing PLO. And I just say, you need to grind 10-20. Start with the lowest stakes, whichever possible. Start with the lowest stakes, grind for 2 weeks. Don't even think about anything else. And just start before doing that, read either Jeff Wong or Try Guy, any basic book on PLO, and just do that for 2 weeks, and then message me, and then we'll do.
That's
Whoever
amazing.
is.
That's amazing. So obviously they have to have some sort of exposure to the game before you can actually get into talking about their strategy and all of that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So so let me transition to something that I wanted to talk about for a while. Your Philippines trip, the Asian Poker Tour trip. I mean, we followed it on Facebook. It seemed like a very colorful trip. Why don't you tell us how that whole experience was?
Dude, that was like one of the worst run I had in history in tournaments. I've I've always put in my money. Like I break four tournaments, I think 4 or 5, and I was always ahead, like way ahead. I put in my money with Ace King. I got called off by Ace Queen, Eclipse Queen. I put in with Kings. He got called by fives, Eclipse 5. So that kind of thing was happening, throughout the tour. And anyways, my live tournament record is not so good. And on top of that, I was hoping Manila could be will do that. I'll get some score or something, but then it didn't happen. So then I was pretty disappointed. I didn't play cash games and stuff. Um, but Manila is a lovely place, man. Like people there are nice. The nightlife is amazing. So I was kind of tilted. I didn't want to go back to India yet. So I decided to extend my trip for like four nights or so, 4 5 nights. And then I was grinding online from there. My schedule was I used to grind start grinding from 2 p.m. and I used to grind till 7 8 p.m. at night, and then I used to go out. I went on a couple of dates there.
Right.
Uh,
We saw a couple of
I,
pictures.
I always used
Do
to
you
go
find it
to
even
yeah. I always used to go to a different place, meet new people, hang out, and the clubbing scene there is awesome. You
right?
if you party in Manila, you'll never want to party in India.
I'm sure. I mean, so obviously, I've seen the pictures. You had a great time. I didn't know about how bad you ran in the tournaments, but I wanted to ask you a question related to that. Like, when you go for an international trip, what's your approach? Is like you have a schedule which you want to follow. Is there a set number of tournaments you want to play, or do you like more do it on a more reactive level?
It's very simple. I have never traveled with my own money in the last 3 years of my poker career, and I will never
Yeah,
do that.
because you've won every satellite there it was ever. So
So I don't. My idea never is to go, and play poker whenever I travel. But whatever I am playing, I play with I 100% focus. I give it my best, whatever I know. It's just that uh, the live variance is so high that it is not unreal to not cash a certain number of tournaments. So I've played maybe around 30 tournaments till now, live tournaments, and I've cashed in two. So yeah, initially I was bad, but now my game is like better than an average player. So if I'm sitting on a table, um, I am a little nitty right now in tournaments, so that is one of the leagues. But I feel confident about my MTT games by now. So uh, you asked about schedule, right? So my plan in every trip is to focus on whatever games I've won the SATI for, and I usually do not put my own money. Like apart from the tournaments, whichever tournaments are running, people generally play that. I don't do that. But Manila, I think I played two on my own, uh, because I was playing good, but I was running so bad. So I thought I wanted to play. I was in a good state of mind, feeling confident about my game, but then it didn't work out. So, anyways,
Okay.
so
Okay.
yeah, so that is my plan, and apart from this, my major focus always is on traveling, meeting new people, seeing the city.
Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? I mean, you've met a lot of people. I'm sure. Like, is there anyone special you wanna give a shout
I
out to?
This was the first time I met, or rather, I partied with Aditya Sushant.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it was amazing. I messaged him saying that this was the good luck from Manila, which you carried to Vegas.
Fantastic, fantastic. So shout out to Aditya Suchan. He's doing some awesome work at the WSOP. He's catched a couple of events. He obviously took her down a bracelet.
Yeah,
So big
you know,
congratulations to him.
you know the reason behind it, right? It's all discipline. He's on a keto diet.
He's on a keto diet.
Yeah,
I know a couple of people on a keto diet right now. It seemed to be trending.
he lost a ton of weight, man, and
Yeah,
it's a
he looks pretty fit. And
discipline that most people are good poker players. It's just the discipline that is lacking in most of them. Nobody wants to work hard; they just want to make money.
that's true, man. That's true. And that's why the more people that have made it in poker always talk about discipline and always talk about the basic fundamentals which not a lot of people really focus on. So Tanay has a question. If you're doing something special to train for your MTTs, how are you preparing for your MTTs?
No. So, if you play a certain game, whatever game it is, suppose you are playing MTTs, and then you work on a different game. So when you excel at one game, you automatically improve in the other. So for MTTs, I don't do a lot of work. I just discuss hands and whenever I get time. So currently I'm staying with Nitin. We have shifted to a new place in Pune, and this has helped me a lot because we discuss hands, we discuss spots. So that's how we improve. I help him with PLO, he helps me with MTTs.
Does that also involve a lot of partying?
A
Because
lot, but
things might get out of line when you're with Nitin, and obviously you're someone who likes to enjoy yourself.
obviously, when you party with us, you win a WSOP bracelet. What else you need?
That definitely is the best strategy on this podcast. uh, what else? We have a lot of people watching. So Akash Shekhar says your major focus is usually on, and then you paused, and then you said traveling the city, which obviously may not be true.
I mean, he knows what my name.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So quickly, I also wanted to speak about the Vegas promo. You've already qualified to go to Vegas with Poker Ninja,
I qualified
and
from two sides this time.
sorry,
I qualified from two sides.
two sides.
Yeah,
How did you
Ninja,
manage that?
both are sponsoring me for Vegas. So Adda, I won a ticket also, and Ninja is sponsoring my flights and stay, and Adda is sponsoring my flight and ticket. Twin sponsors.
That is amazing. How do you manage to do all this, man?
I'm
So,
way more lucky.
so you qualified through Poker Ninja. How? Like, did you play a certain number of hands, or like did you deposit?
Pokemon was the easiest promotion till date. I've like before even starting, I knew that I'll qualify. So it was, you need to generate basically a certain amount of VIP points, which is the promotion was basically equivalent to 100% rake back. So if you generate those much VIP points in a certain period of time, you'll get to fly to Vegas. So like the criteria was 140,000 points, and you get a stay 6 night stay and two flight tickets. So I completed that in 3 weeks. It was a 3 month promo I completed in 3 weeks.
That's fantastic, because I know for a fact that you were one of the first people who actually qualified on this promo.
Yeah, at that time I was one of the biggest winners in Ninja, but then the action kind of dried up. So now the games don't run as much as they used to before.
Right, right. Okay. We heard something about the fact that you went to Dehradun to play cricket on Facebook, and I was very inquisitive about it. What was that all about?
Yeah. So the idea was basically to uh, meet Gagan, who have we have been in touch for quite some time now. So he said that, and I always wanted to see Dehradun, and this cricket was an added advantage. How can you say no to a floodlight cricket match? So it was a 25 over match. Started at like afternoon 3 or 4, and it went all till 8 or 9 p.m. under the floodlights. So this was like after maybe four 4 years I was playing. I played, so it was fun. It was the most fun trip because I was there, Gagan was there, Kanish Bansal was there, Nitin was there. We played, we partied, we made a lot of money online that time. We just I just crushed Adda that period of time. I think uh, the trip was of 3 to 4 nights, and during that period I must have made like 14, 15 on Adda.
Lakhs. You should kind of mention for like somebody who's watching abruptly, like they won't understand. It might seem like 14, 1,500,000.
I mean, whatever games I played during that period, I just cleaned the tables. So it was an amazing trip.
Fantastic, fantastic. A lot of people have been selling, action on the poker forums where they're selling 100% of themselves. There has been some interesting deals. People have been very creative about it, and you and me were speaking about it as well. So what is your take on that? Like when somebody is coming out and selling a tournament package or selling, you know, for a couple of for an entire schedule, and selling 100% of themselves, for a 80% stake back or whatever. Like, what's your take on that?
But I think this is a new trend which is caught up on IPPA of selling 100%, and that's the most, how do I put it? I mean, I don't understand how all the packs get sold. I do understand, but then I don't know, people don't realize that they're actually, it's like 1.2 to 1.3 markup, whatever, depending on stake back they're offering. I have never sold at a markup, only once the high roller. And people selling, you know, people tell me that you're stupid that you don't sell at markup, you're missing value. I said, I'm not. First of all, okay, I might be better than most of the people selling there, but I can't justify my markup. So until and unless I can justify my markup, I will never put a markup on my packs. But yeah, it's kind of not disappointing. I mean, it's funny that people want to put their money in bad every time, and this keeps on happening. It continues, it never stops. I always, I think there'll be a period where people will realize that they're making a bad investment. For example, let's say if anybody puts a pack of Adda or Bazi with 30% TDS, Without any markup, it's a bad investment. And people put that with markup. So yeah, if you want to burn your money, you rather give it to charity or something rather than investing on packs on IPPA. And you know, not even those 100% packs. Most of the Vegas packs, they're all a waste of money. You can't make money on those packs. The people selling at 1.2, 1.4 is just a joke, man. Like people see, I mean, I know if I were as a player in their place, I might have, like if I was a tournament player, I might have done that because if somebody wants to give you money, why not take it? But then I don't think I can do that.
That's true, man. That's true. I mean, you realize obviously that markup comes from a place where there are a lot
Yeah,
of factors
I
that are
if you
involved in setting markup.
yeah, exactly. You one needs to understand, never think about the short term. You need to understand whenever you're doing business or whenever starting a business, you need to have a long term approach. So why do sites like GoPoker or recently GoPoker there was a or something happened. So why does this happen? Because they never planned it out. They just started a site. You can't run a
Right,
site without money.
right, right. Yeah, we can get to all that. But we have been discussing was another thing which is very interesting, that a lot of sites have been hiring a lot of pros, and
That's
so
another big.
that, I mean, it's something that I found very interesting, and I wanted to know, like, from someone who plays high stakes, or someone who's been a part of the poker economy, on
Yeah.
how much value does a pro bring to a site, and what's the deals, and how does those things work?
There is absolutely zero value in a pro deal for a site. Absolutely no value. But for a pro, it is the best thing that can happen to you. So I don't think any of the pros, if you see take it Adda Pro or Bazi Pros, nobody I think has made money for the site. And
Like, even if they
not
have, like how do
saying
you
it
how do you calculate the value?
I'm not just saying it. So what happens with a pro deal is when you sign a pro, you basically stake them for life and online tournaments, or you give them a monthly stipend. So the deal is usually when 50, it's the 50/50s deal. So whatever, suppose you are traveling for a live tournament abroad or in India, all your buy-ins are covered from the site, and whatever your winnings are will be split equally. So if you see the data, I don't think any site has made any, but the difference is like they use them for marketing purposes mostly. So if you see the new pro team of Pokemet, there I think two new names, two or one. Suchi, right? She just started playing poker and she's signed as a pro. So what do you think is the value in it? It's just marketing promotions. But what they don't, so maybe from what I've heard, they've spent a lot of money on these pros, which they will never recover.
Yeah,
It's
but
just a,
but I guess what you're saying makes sense. Like, it's purely on a marketing way, marketing sort of a strategy where
but it's
it's
pros, it's there can be nothing better than them. Then Adda pros. You take any pros, Adda pros, Bazi pros, Coconut pros. They will never make money for the site. They'll be used as the what one thing is what pisses me off the most is uh, there was an incident Adda issue where there was a card issue where cards were uh, disappearing or appearing randomly. So I raised that issue, and there was a lot of debate on that. There was a statement made by one of the Adda pros that this issue we have known for 1 week, and the team is working on it. So the difference between poker pros in India and abroad is, like, poker is primary for any player except for in India, any pro. If the site fucks up, the pro will be the first to thrash the site, and it should be like that, right? But in India, it's the opposite. Like a poker pro considers the site as its, his baby or something. Like he's responsible, like he's accountable for the site. It shouldn't be that way.
How many poker deals have you declined? I'm sure a lot of sites approach you for.
Do you think after all these statements, any site, any site will sign me?
They might, man. A lot of things happen, dude. You never know.
The only site. See, there are two major jobs of a poker pro: is to handle the online audience and then to promote the site offline. So if you see, they'll never get into controversies and stuff. They'll always be defending their sites and all. Whatever will happen, they'll defend till they're part of the site. Once they're out, then they won't care.
Right.
This is
We've seen that happen with a lot of sites in the past.
I
I
hope-
do not want to go into that. I had a lot of questions from one Mr. Vishwajit Patil, who's super into the podcast, and he's asking a lot of really good questions. I want to get to that. So a couple of his questions are very generic, which I'll answer myself. Why no Indian sites allow HUDs? Because HUDs haven't come into the software.
Some of them even have a replayer till now. Why do you think it is so?
Yeah, I think we're a couple of years away from having HUDs on the Indian sites.
Capable of providing a replayer to the players.
Yeah,
You
I think yeah.
If you ask for hand histories, you'll get it, but they don't provide it to everyone. Why?
Yeah, I think probably that's one thing that a lot of people have complaints with Adda 52.4. I mean, it's one of the premier poker sites of the country, and it's been running successfully for a long time. But there is a lot of things regarding the software. They're working really hard on it, but there's a lot of things which still need a lot of catching up.
They're not. I don't know whether they're working or not, but I know for sure that they have a facility for providing hand histories, but they don't do it consciously.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you two other questions which Abhineet asked. So I'm going to ask all the questions together, and you can answer them one by one so that it's easier for you. Have you left your job to play poker professionally? Which I know the answer for, but you can get to it. And you promote sites like Adda and Bazi and Poker Ninja and stuff like that. Is there any personal motive?
Let's do it one by one. It will be easier.
All right, so you can get to the job.
Yeah, I left my job in Feb 2017.
The last time we spoke, you were actually looking at jobs where you can again start working on a professional level.
My plan,
But you haven't.
If I told in my OPN interview, and I'll reiterate that my plan is to travel and play for the next maximum 1 year. Well, let's say till March or so. And in the meanwhile, I have been looking to jobs. I have applied for a few companies, but my focus is on travel as much as possible and play. And
Right.
if something comes in between, I'm also looking into some business opportunities in the nearby area. So that is my plan. What's the
Right.
next question?
So basically, at the moment, you're keeping your options open, and obviously, a job might be something in the future. You'll see whether it's something that you want to do. Yeah. So another thing was Vishwadit asked that how do you split your volume between like international sites and Indian sites? Do you play at all
I,
on like PokerStars and AAA?
I never play on. I Right now I'm not playing on PokerStars, but uh, like 1 year back, 1 or 2 years back, I I put in a lot of volume in that because that is the only place where you can find out your leaks. You cannot become a good player just by starting out on Indian sites and then keep on playing because you have no way of knowing your leaks if you're playing on Indian sites.
Right.
There's just one option which is hand history review, which is also not there on some sites.
Yeah. I remember you playing like super micro stakes on PokerStars just to kind of put enough volume to study your own game.
How I improved was uh, I used to play like whatever is the lowest stakes till sometimes maybe high stakes. So I downloaded Poker Tracker 4 and there's a league finder option in there. So when you put in enough volume, you can find out where all areas you're lacking. For example, one of my leagues, major leagues, was my C betting percentage was very low. Was very very low. I was losing insanely high amount from small and big blind. You lose like most. You have to lose from small blind, okay, but that rate should not be as high as I had like 2 years back. So these are a couple of examples, but there are like a lot of stats which you can go through and then you can find out your leaks and fix those. And after doing all that work is when my game improved and I switched to high stakes on Indian sites. I am almost a break even player uh, on Poker Stars. Till I am a profitable player on certain stakes like 2.55. The problem is when I go into a DGen mode on Poker Stars, I start playing 10-20 and then I lose. But overall, I'm a break-even player. If I start grinding on Poker Stars, I can make money there, but my win rate is insanely high on Indian sites. I'm beating, I I think last week only I filed my taxes and man, it just breaks your heart to pay 30.
I can imagine. I can imagine. That's a big number there.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think you answered all these questions.
And
Quite
I'm very
satisfactorily.
proud of the fact that I don't have any black money. All I've been paying 30% tax since beginning. I have zero black money in my house or anywhere.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So obviously you are promoting, paying tax, and you've been doing that diligently, which is awesome. And
Yeah,
you've been traveling a lot, so which is I don't think you have any complaints, right?
not at all.
Yeah. So another question I had from Tanay was why are so many sites coming up with really bad user interface, which are not player friendly. Like, why do you think that
Because
nobody's really putting
spending their money on the pros. No,
yeah, I mean,
problem is most of these sites they they are maybe operated by people who have no poker background most of the times, and then they team up with some pro, and that pro obviously will look out for himself first most of the times. So that is what is happening, I think.
yeah, I mean, it's really
All
sad to
sites,
see that.
most of the Indian sites have shitty software except for Spartan Poker, which is the only site where you won't you won't get tilted by the software. Rest all the sites is just shit, man.
Yeah, I
Pure
think the
shit.
software which Spartan uses, I think Poker
That,
Mania also had the same one. Poker Ninja also had the same one. I think that is the one which has been extremely
that is
player
again
friendly.
again, it is a good software, but it is it is not legal. At least Bazi and Adda have their homegrown software and they're working hard. Bazi is working really hard on this software. Their software was a joke, like the first version, man, it was so bad. But now at least they've stabilized it. So yeah, and the new version of Adda. I mean, you would imagine that when you're coming up with a new version, it will be better than the old version. But look at the software.
Okay. So a very valid question. Let me just give a couple of shout outs. There's a lot of people asking some really awesome questions and tuning in to watch us. A shout out to Avinash Kumar, Black with Chia right there. Tanay obviously is watching us. Neera Jadhav, Vishwajit, Akash Shekhar, the meme guy, the most creative YouTuber I know, is here, and he's asked a very very awesome question, and I'd like you to answer this. What will happen if the site lowers rake from 3.5 to 1%? Like, how will that be for the ecosystem?
It's always good, man. The lower the
Yeah,
rate, the better.
do you think that's a direction like we should go? Like,
Why is this even a question? I don't understand. I think maybe he has asked this question because of that duck poke and Negrano controversy, where Negrano said that higher rake is better for players. But
yeah, that's what he said. But I mean that is another thing that's very specific to Poker Stars.
I'll just give you a very extreme analogy.
Okay.
You have 50% rake, you have 1% rake. Which is better?
So lower rake is definitely better for a lot of reasons.
Lower rake is better, man. Whatever logic anyone gives or tries to, prove that higher rake is better for professional players is just it's something like what Adda pros do, what Negrano maybe tried to do for Poker Stars. I didn't even bother to look at his argument because it doesn't make sense.
No, there's no argument. Like so for like just to give
there was like Negrano said that higher rake is actually better for the ecosystem, where Duck Poke made fun of him. And
okay, so
he goes to extreme.
He started wearing t-shirts as well, which said more rake is better, but like coming back to what I was saying is this, that the Indian sites have predominantly always had higher rake structures compared to Poker Stars or compared to like the international sites. So we already have a system where there is a higher rake when compared to the micro stakes internationally. So in a system like this, where we are already paying about the norms or the international guidelines, isn't it better for sites to reduce rake, and it may affect their bottom line in some form or the other initially, but isn't it like on the long run a better direction to go to?
As I said earlier, nobody thinks of the long term. Nobody. It is obviously better. Now, I can't say for sure, like, if they reduce, how much they should reduce, and I have not done any work on this, but lower rake is always better for the players.
So how does so Akash says that
how will it might even not be profitable in the long run. I'm really not sure because I have not done any work on this.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure, if you compare the rake of all the sites, Spartan has the highest rake, right? But they are bearing all the TDS. So poker in India will not sustain until this 30% tax criteria is removed, it will die down eventually. Spartan is running just because they're bearing all the TDS. The day they stop doing that, that site will shut down. Came up with an offer of TDS back. There was hardly any action, and I started grinding on Bazi. They it that so this was because of two reasons. One, now the software is much better than before, and second, because of the TDS back component. If they remove that, the day they remove TDS criteria, I'll stop grinding on Buzz.
Right.
It will not
Right.
be profitable for me. Adda
So
is profitable because I'm just crushing the 30% criteria. Like it doesn't even affect me, the 30% TDS. The players there are so bad on high stakes. And you know, there are players who play with me with ego. Some of the high stakes players. So when you get such players, it's like whenever I want to make money, I'll wake up, I'll find somebody pissed off with me who wants to beat me, and then he'll give all his money to me, and then what else you want in life?
you mentioning this on the podcast might not be a winning strategy. You know that, right?
Oh, it is. This will get me more players like this.
You want to piss people off. That's it.
Obviously.
Okay, so hypothetically, what Akash was, the second thing Akash said was, hypothetically, if, in our current ecosystem, let's say one particular site reduces, their rake in comparison to the rest, what do you think will happen? Like, just
I
hypothetically.
it will affect anything because there are very few regs who are playing cash games, and there are a lot of you know rich businessmen and random players who are playing who have no idea what they are doing, so they don't even know what is the current rate percentage. So whether you reduce it, increase it, doesn't matter at all. Only a few regs will notice it. Yeah, if you increase it, then there'll be an issue, but if you reduce it, there'll not be, at the moment there'll not be any much. So what I mean is, like, say suppose Adda reduces its rate by 2 point from 3.5 to 2.5. So will that force Bazi or Spartan to reduce? The answer is no. Absolutely not, because every site right now has a different player pool. Every site, Adda, Bazi, Halo, Spartan, they all have a different player pool. And so, their strategies, what most happens is the sites keep copying each other's strategies. Uh, and they try, their major focus is how to, reduce the burden of TDS on players. That is the only, that is the biggest area of concern right now for a player, for a site, for everyone involved in the ecosystem. And
Yeah, because every time a
yeah,
person is winning, they're paying 30%, which is basically taking money out of the ecosystem,
not
which
beat 30% tax, not at all. And MTTs is just stupid. So whatever MTTs I play on Adda, it's all from the bonus money which I get. You deposit every time there's a scheme. Otherwise, if there was no bonus money, I would never touch MTTs with 30% TDS. Never ever
right.
in my life.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, it obviously makes it very difficult
Yeah.
with already a very less return.
Spartan, I'll play all the tournaments, whatever they'll do, because they are bearing all their tax. And hopefully this time I need to see whether they pay the taxes or not, because last year they didn't. There was a huge scam, is the right word only. Like they paid the taxes, and at the year end, if when I checked, this happened with a couple of players. When we checked the form 26 on the site, taxes were gone. So what they did
Sure.
was they calculated the net profit of every player, and then if they paid in a certain quarter, and then if the player lost in the next quarter, they somehow claim the tax back. I'm not aware how they did it, but they did.
Okay, so was there any further clarification that happened post that, or was it all uh, was it all cool?
Spartan is pumping so much money in the system that you cannot make them accountable for anything. There was this, like, after that rake scam, which is obviously no person in their right mind, and they are brilliant people. The team behind Spartan, they are brilliant people. Nobody will believe that it was a mistake. It was a obvious decision on their part to maybe increase the rake or whatever. Why they did it, I don't know. But the point is, if you are playing on that side, even after all that, it's just because it doesn't make sense not to play on that side. There's so much money on the side. So if suppose they decide not to pay your tax, yeah, you can argue, you can make a few posts on FP, but they don't care. They won't respond to you. Go ahead, file a case against them. That's the only thing you can do.
Right, especially with the kind of money they're pumping in the system, like the amount of high guarantees that they have sort of a monopoly right now.
It's insane. And if someone sees this, like, who's not a poker player, and he sees that they're organizing a tournament with 20 lakh first place guaranteed, where the prize pool never reaches that amount, so he might think that maybe they're running in losses. But no, they're easily making monthly in 8 digits, upwards of 8 digits monthly gross profit, net profit, sorry. So
Yeah,
even
so
after doing all those promotions, they are running in profit.
yeah,
That's
I
how
think
clean and brilliant strategies they are using. It's just that I just, you know, if that race scam didn't happen, I would have been happier. But what to do? I mean, you have to play on that side. No other option.
right, but isn't this a problem? Like, now we're talking about a fact that that there is a site which has no, I'm not talking about Spartan in general. I love Spartan, but I'm just saying any site that uh, does a certain promotion or does a certain mistake, there's not much that a poker player can do to fight against it, especially a site like Spartan or Adda or
You
even
can't
Poker
do.
Ninja.
There's nothing you can do. So
So
yeah,
what do you think? As a player, like, isn't that worrying?
for me, it's not because, as I said, I changed my strategy. I don't keep so much funds on the sites. But I'll take example of Spartan. Let's say, so uh, as a player, you should not be worried because if anything goes wrong, I think there are very few chances of them running away with a player's money, because for a player, the only thing of concern is your balance, right? So, Adda, Bazi, Spartan, I don't think you should be worried too much. But apart from these, I don't know.
Right.
These three, like, to a certain extent, I'm sure that nothing, major will happen. Like, they'll not run with your money and all. And especially the Bazi team. Like, if you've met Nafkiran, he's not the kind of guy who'll do that. Maybe so Adda, anyways, there's not one guy who's running it, but if you meet the Bazi team, they're the most trustworthy guys in the business. So at least your money, I'll not be worried of whatever amount I'll keep on Bazi. The software might be shared, which is not shit right now. It's not great.
You just
It's
can't
not
help it but be honest.
No, I'm
Okay,
saying
so
honestly, it is not shit right now. But
it's not. It's not. It's not. It's improved quite a bit from where it was, and it was very
yeah,
difficult to play earlier on
I'm never worried about
Bowsy.
anything. Especially my funds on Bowsy. Never ever.
Right. So I have another very interesting comment, which I'll get to. I Abhineet, can you reduce your volume? I think I'm echoing.
Okay.
Is it better? Yeah, I see. It seems better.
Yeah.
Okay. If it is of any concern to us and interested in sport, will it be better that all of us, create a body of some sort where we go and boycott, sites and have certain rules and regulation which govern this whole system?
There's
Is
already
that
a
something
body,
we could do?
Indian Poker Association.
Yeah, but I'm saying like in terms of enforcing stuff, like how much can the IP is fighting a battle for the poker in the country.
Like,
Like hats off to them for
yeah.
that, and
You mean like an
we
online
all
community?
like a community which kind of regulates poker in the country in
See,
terms
the
of
problem with that is right now the community is not so big. So it's the same thing. Uh, People tried to boycott Spartan and they were successful quite a bit. But when they pump in such huge amount of money, you can't do anything. You can make 100 committees, you can do whatever you want. You can't stop 900 players from playing there with a 20 lakh guarantee first place. You can't stop.
you can't stop. That's true. That's true. But yeah, definitely if the growth
Like if you want,
of poker in India
at least
happens.
I can't. I won't be. I won't be interested in being part of any such community because uh, I don't have time. Second, I don't think it makes sense.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, I definitely.
If you want most of the things which you want, get it done. It's for me. IPPA has always been a place where I get results in a day or two. So that Adda issue which happened, uh, I took it to another level because so they said they were working on that issue for 1 week, and when I posted about it, it got resolved within a day or two max. So you need to, whoever is concerned about poker should always bring out stuff in IPPA. That's, I think, the best place. Uh, but yeah, the problem is most of the pros and operators, they're lazy and even if they know about some issue, they'll not do anything about it because their loyalties are at a different place. So we as poker players just consider your responsibility to make other players aware. That's how we'll sustain.
Right. Right. Okay. I mean, I think we've covered that well enough, and
Yeah.
the poker ecosystem in India definitely needs a lot of kind of maturing, and we'll eventually get to a place where all of this is possible. At the moment, I think, like you said, like most of our concerns are kind of getting addressed. I think most of sites do have their representatives in some form or the other, where they're taking care of certain things. But moving on from that, I know for a fact that you're very vocal on the Facebook group as well, and you've kind of got into some fights, and you've had a few very vocal moments on Facebook with with the likes of Leon, and I
Yeah, with
think
that cartoon, man. I don't understand why he was part of that group for so long. I mean, he is emotionally and mentally stunted. So any issue that happens, he has to speak about it and speak shit about people and all. I'm glad that the admins finally removed him. Yeah, but I don't mind. I mean, I got pissed off a couple of times, but then his brain is like that of a child, so it doesn't bother me at all. It was not even fun, you know. Some people who create ruckus in the online community, they are. I mean, sometimes it is fun, but he was not fun. Like it was genuinely, he was genuinely, you know, hurting people's emotions, and there were a lot of hatred going on in the community, and it wasn't, you know, good for the ecosystem so it's good to remove him and let's forget him.
Yeah, I
nothing
mean,
nothing major to talk about.
fair enough, fair enough. I think we're just gonna close. If any of our viewers have any questions, you can shoot.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, Pokemon, why don't you tell us, what's your plan through the year now? Like
yeah.
last time we closed on the same thing.
Yeah,
So
so
what's your short term
as I
goals, long
said,
term goals?
as I said in the beginning, before Vegas, I set out a target which uh, I am close, and hopefully I'll in the next 8 days I'll be able to close it out, and I'm well on track on my monthly average, which uh, which will help me, you know, to end the year on that 8-digit mark. So yeah, all is going good. I've stopped playing tournaments, most, I mean, online tournaments, because it doesn't make sense. It's not so profitable for me. But yeah, I'll keep on trying whenever I'm traveling. I'll keep on trying, my luck with small bind tournaments, so that I get that required experience which you need to excel at any game at any level. So yeah, that's it. If you have any more questions.
Yeah, I have one more question for you. What do you know about Ad Tarun's game, and what's your take on his strategy or his play style?
Who has asked this?
This is Vishwajit.
Vishwajit. I'd rather talk about his game style than Akhtarun's. I want to ask him why he has stopped playing. He used to be a high stakes regular. So Vishwajit, please start playing. I miss you at the tables. Tarun is not playing anymore. So
Okay, I think we'll just close this on
yeah.
that note. Thank you so much for being with us. We
Thank
always
you.
wish you all the best. Thank you for being so honest. Thank you for your time.
Thank you
If
so
any of
much.
you like to follow Abhineet, he's on Facebook as Abhineet Jain. Please like and subscribe my podcast. I'm on Facebook, the Poker Rajas podcast. Definitely follow us for more updates. We'll keep you posted with more podcasts, and definitely we'll have Abhineet back on the podcast soon. All right, then,
Thank
guys. See you. Take care.
you.
Cheers.